We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
Nosotros crecemos cuando damos.
We grow when we give.
与えるとき成長する。
We grow when we give.
Welcome to ROG, Return on Generosity, a podcast celebrating generosity at work. Not financial giving, giving valuable time, alternative perspectives, and genuine collaboration.
Welcome to ROG, episode 119 on behavioral style differences and adaptation. Something that's critically important to us as generous leaders is to recognize the style preference of others and modify and modulate our behavior to make it easier and more effective to communicate with them. So it starts with being observant and aware of the fact that we have style differences, and then knowing how we can shift to make it easier and better for others. So let's start with the golden rule. The golden rule is to do unto others as we want to be done unto. Such an important rule as generous leaders and any humans is to think about, how do we want to be treated? Like, if I want to be treated with respect, I should treat others with respect. If I want people to be honest with me, I should be honest with them. If I want people to be kind, I should be kind. Such an important rule for us to live by. Behaviorally speaking, however, this doesn't work. So if I am, let's say, 100-mile-an-hour person, we'll use miles per hour as a way to talk about style differences. If I'm like 85, 90, 100-mile-an-hour person, meaning I like to make decisions quickly, I'm on the move, I speak in bullet points, and I'm communicating with someone who's like a 30, 45, 50-mile-an-hour person, meaning they're thoughtful, very conscientious, they are more thorough, and detailed in how they want to approach things and how they want to make decisions. Should I treat them the way I want to be treated? Should I be like, come on, let's go, either figuratively or, God forbid, literally snapping and moving things along? Or should I modify my approach, pump the brakes a little, and be thoughtful about the fact that this person might want a little more time to think about this? So to do that as generous leaders, we're going to refer to that as the platinum rule. The platinum rule is to do unto others as they want to be done unto. How do we treat people the way they want to be treated? Not just how we want to be treated, but how they want to be treated. So we're going to look at the 4 style differences like we would if we were taking a DISC assessment. There are several assessments that can help us understand behavioral style preferences and differences. One of them is called DISC, which is an acronym. And we're going to use that in our discussion today. And I have some handy blocks that can help us color code them. So for those that are joining us on YouTube, you can see that. For those who either are not on YouTube or unable to see this, I'm going to explain it visually and verbally. So the first block is the red one. And on it, it says, be bright, be brief, be gone. So the red block is the D in DISC, which stands for dominance. And dominance is a style that is very fast, forward-looking, competitive, and goal-oriented. So if you're communicating with somebody who's a dominance or a D or red, then what you're going to want to do is be bright, be brief, be gone, meaning think about in advance, what is the headline of what I'm trying to say? What you might want to do is just write out a script, so to speak, of what you want to say. And then if you were going to turn that into a tweet or just only choose a couple of words to describe the thing that you're trying to communicate, use those. Think about, what am I trying to do here? Do I need them to do something? Am I trying to tell them something? Do I need them to understand something? Do I need them to buy into something? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And say that in the beginning, because otherwise the dominance person is going to be listening for that as you're explaining your case. So that's D, and what I'm holding up is a red, what looks like a Lego piece that's squishy that says be bright, be brief, be gone on it. That's red. So the next one is yellow. So now I'm holding up a yellow puzzle piece or Lego piece that says involve me. And the yellow is the I in DISC, which stands for influencing. Influencing is the style that is big energy and gregarious and likes to talk a lot, and they're very social, people-oriented. So what the red and the yellow have in common is they're very fast pace. They're that 85, 95 mile an hour person. They like to make decisions quickly. They like to move quickly. They are high risk takers, and they're more extroverted. So they're more likely to tell you what they need or what they want or what doesn't make sense to them. So if you're communicating with someone who's strong in I or influencing or yellow, then what you want to do is think about how can you involve them? Ask them questions. Ask them about their experience with the thing that you're talking about. Ask them for their thoughts and ideas. But you're going to have to be mindful of how you keep boundaries around this conversation, because I's or yellows love to be included in things and might overpower the conversation. So make sure they're included and involved, but make sure you keep some tight boundaries on there. The next one is green, and it's the S in DISC, which stands for steadiness. And what it says, and I'm holding up a green Lego piece that says, show me you care. Show me you care is a really important thing to do with individuals who prefer steadiness as their behavioral style preference, because they need to know that this isn't just transactional. This isn't just about you getting something or taking something. This is about us collaborating and cooperating, building something together. So what would be great for you to do is slow your roll. S's prefer things to be more methodical and thoughtful and process-oriented. They really want to make sure people are included and involved. So how can you ask them questions and listen? Make sure you listen and show them that you care, that you're responding to their needs and you're not trying to manipulate or run them over. So that's the steadiness. What the yellow and the green, the steadiness and the influencing, have in common is that they're both people-oriented. So when you're communicating with someone who's really focused on people and how's this going to make them feel and the culture and how should we communicate that, and should we do some follow-up coaching, or is there going to be some confusion with this ambiguity? We want to be thoughtful about how are we addressing those issues. Those are legitimate concerns and issues. So we want to make sure we're listening to them and prioritizing people, and we're letting those individuals who demonstrate steadiness and influencing lead the way in terms of that cultural component to it. And then last but not least is C, and I'm holding up a blue Lego box, and what it says on it is give me the details. Give me the details. The C in DISC is compliance. And compliance is the behavioral style preference that is very detail-oriented, analytical. They want the context. They want to dig deep. They really want their questions answered. They want to know why and how and when and who. So the more you can prepare in advance to have the conversation with an individual who prefers compliance, the better. Send them the pre-read. Send them the research, the deck, all of the content, because they will want to consume that so that they understand the landscape. So another analogy to use is if you were giving someone directions. Like if you were giving a compliance person directions, you would want to be really thorough about maybe even the coordinates of the place that you were talking about. What is the country, the state, the hemisphere, the exact area, and then the address. For the dominance or the red, you just want to give them the address. They'll figure out the rest. And so what happens sometimes is when we're communicating with people, we are treating them the way we want to be treated. So let's just say I'm a compliance person, the blue, and I'm communicating with somebody who's dominant or red. So I'm giving them all the details and all the context and all the information, because to me, that's how I'm being the most accurate and truthful and transparent. But if I'm the D or the red, that's really frustrating to me because I'm getting lost in this. Like, what do you need from me, or what do I need to understand? So if I could modify my preference and just give the bottom line, and then the dominance could ask for more information if needed, that would be better. And the reverse is true too. So for the dominance individuals or the red, to think about how could I provide more detail? How can I make sure that I'm being clear and that I'm providing them enough opportunity to ask me questions and give them the kind of information that they need? Because the red and the blue, what these two have in common is task. They're very focused on the task. What is the goal? What are the obstacles? Who's involved? What's the deadline? What's the budget? How are we going to get this thing done? And so, for example, in a meeting, when we open up a meeting, if my preference is people, I'm going to wonder, how are you doing? Or I love your haircut, or what are you doing this weekend? But if I am red or blue, I'm going to be more about what's the agenda, how much time do we have, and what are the targeted outcomes for this conversation. Neither is right or wrong, good or bad. We've got to have a combination of all of them. And now I'm holding up all of these blocks together to demonstrate how this can work together. So as generous leaders, we want to be conscientious about the style preferences of others and ourselves. Know where we're coming from first. That would be the first place to start. Which of these 4 style preferences do you think is yours? Are you more dominance, influencing, steadiness, or compliance? As a baseline. And then how can you modify your approach when you're communicating with others to make it easier for them to understand what you mean, to partner with you, and to collaborate? Please join us next week for episode 120 with Tom Halloran, President and CEO of Fidelis Care. Until then, stay generous and modify your style preference to make it easier for others to communicate with you and you with them. Stay generous, everyone.
Thanks for listening to ROG, Return on Generosity podcast. Please help us grow by subscribing and reviewing us on your favorite podcast player. And for more information, visit bridgebetween.com. We grow when we give.
우리는 나누면서 성숙합니다.
We grow when we give.
On rayonne quand on donne.
We grow when we give.